just gonna play this the rest of the entire 2 hours. Right? It's Halloween, so somebody, that actually would work. Christmas music, you got that, like Grandma got run over by a reindeer. Like you get all those songs going, and may or may not have a bunch of good Christmas music come into a station near you, by the way. But you guys I don't know what you're talking about, right? But the one thing though is it would be cool, like for Halloween, just some of these songs like this, just on like straight on. 24/7 walking around having some fun with this. But we are going to get to all the big stories with Greg Litton coming up here on the program. Sign of the Times, by the way. I want to bring this up with you guys here, and you tell me whether or not you believe that they would sign this if you brought this up to these people. So Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into this right now. Sign of the Times, Kyrie Irving. Would he sign a globe after a basketball game? Like if you had a globe and you brought up and you're like...
Oh, yeah, I think he would love that.
You think he would laugh at that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right. You think he would joke with that? It depends who it is, I think. If you're a jackass, he's not going to do it.
If you're a kid, I think if you're a kid, he would find it hilarious and view you as a very creative, innovative mind. If you were an adult, he would be like, all right, obviously I know why you're doing this. Right. You're not cute either because you're an adult. So
Jeff, you would agree with that?
I 100% agree with that.
Okay, so I think that this is the kindness of it. Okay, Jim McElwain, Shark DVD. Shark Week DVD, like a Shark Week.
I don't think so on that one.
He might be offended. Really, he'd be offended if, like, you caught him at the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you went to his house and did that, you're already saying...
I don't think he's going to like that
no,
one.
No, he didn't like it when it happened at the beginning.
Right.
Either did Jimmy John's. But I really don't think...
But it was him, though, right?
What if you were, like, giving him the rights, and you were like, hey, I'm the producer, Discovery Channel, I'm doing this. Like,
his pocketbooks ain't hurting. He ain't.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
he's conned a lot of people out of money. Let's get to the next one here. Tom Brady, a deflated football. Like a deflated game ball.
Yeah, he wanted the difference. He probably just think it's a football.
Not the right answer. Okay.
That's actually great.
All right. Moving on
here.
I
lost my train of thought because that was
O.J.
perfect.
Simpson Cutco knives.
One, I don't
like
think
a set. If you're trying, you sell Cutco knives on the street and be like, Mr. O.J., I know that this. Can you see the different models?
All for it.
If you were like the different, you want to look at the models that you've used here. Here's a longer one. I think this is the one. Is this the Nicole Brown one or no?
But then you have to ask the question: do you feel comfortable giving this man knives?
This seems like a good conversation for Halloween. Like outside of this sounds hideous as a topic right now. I just realized that Cutco knives with Nicole Brown. Like someone's like, that is disgusting. But like for Halloween tonight, yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Mike Price, your biggest fan photo with Cinnamon dancing in Pensacola.
What's he got to lose?
I
mean, maybe if you approach him and say, "I'm sorry, this is all I got. Can you please sign it?" Maybe.
He might want it. I mean,
with like attached with a bunch of ones, and you just make it rain on him too. You throw a bunch of ones at him when you enter the house.
He's gonna have a flashback.
Hey! Like just go in there and just, and then just like Cinnamon. You had them. All right. It's like his wife's still there. Be like, you're still married? All right, moving on here to the next one. Sign of the Times. Would they sign this? Hugh Freeze, like a cell phone with messages towards it. Like if you brought up, like, look at that message from Detroit. Would you?
Your hand was really close.
I know, that was very close. Sorry about that. I appreciate it.
Like I was really starting to get uncomfortable. I actually have a major phobia with things.
I know that. I ate, and there was about 4 things I ate out of the trash today, too, so I apologize for that. But is there, Jeff, what are you thinking on this one? Would he sign a cell phone with messages like you're fired on it?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like, here's your next message.
Probably throw the
phone. What about like, hey, baby, you're looking for a good time?
Nope. Going to stay away from that one. Hopefully he would stay away from that one.
Dan Marino's Super Bowl ring. Just a ring, like in a glass cage. Be like, would you sign this, my friend? Super Bowl ring? Super Bowl ring?
Dan Marino has a temper, so no.
He might hit you. I think that might be that would be on TMZ.
Yeah, he's a real guy.
I think he would hit you. I think he would hit you. Looking at the next one there, Nick Saban, LSU national title hat.
He would sign that.
You think he would?
Yeah.
At like this week for the game,
he would still sign it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Believe he would.
No, it depends where you're. First off, he doesn't sign autographs at the game anyway. He doesn't Nick Saban.
Then why would you ask me that question?
No. I'm saying like maybe outside. I'm saying like not during the game though. Nick Saban doesn't go up. He's not one of those kind of guys like in the stands. Maybe if you caught him at like the bar with his family after, or not the bar. He's not there either. But
I truly believe he would sign it though. He really is a genuinely nice guy. Like, did you see him go to the Arkansas player and talk to him about
that is
when he lost his father? Like he is a nice guy, and then it actually is fitting because he did win a national championship there.
No, he's not. He's not a nice guy. He's not. I'm going to disagree with you on that. He's not a nice guy. He's better than what the media presents.
He's a genuine guy.
He's a genuine guy. I'm going to give you that, but he's not a nice guys are the people kind of guys that you get beat up all the time, and then eventually you're like, you know what? I'm done being too nice. You know,
oh, no.
We're all nice to the point, but there's all. He's not he yells. He makes people feel uncomfortable. Nice people don't make people feel uncomfortable on a daily basis.
They ask stupid questions.
Yeah, but
he's an impatient guy.
He's gotten better with age, okay? And he's doing Geico commercials. Like he's a genuine guy.
That doesn't answer the question at all.
He does a commercial with a duck. Did you not see him in that Geico commercial? He's really nice,
folks.
Okay?
If you are like a crazy person out there and you've killed people, but if you've hung out with a duck before, we're all nice here. Let's move on to the next one here.
Go Ducks.
Go Ducks. Nick Saban is a great coach. He's incredible. Being a nice human being that's a word that is up to you to decide. That's an optional kind of comment. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's a great? It's like the elite versus great player. Like, was Carmelo Anthony ever?
It's definitely an
elite?
Opinionated definition.
Exactly. So, but I'm telling you, from somebody that I try to live my life as a nice guy. Now I dress like Pee Wee Herman right now. But overall, I'm saying this. I don't believe Nick Saban is he makes people feel uncomfortable, like scared to ask him questions. Nice people, you're not afraid to walk up. When Jeff gets out of the car, I joked with him in the parking lot. He was trying to back up the truck a few times, and I walked up and I was like, "You blocking me?" And he laughed and stuff like that. If I did that to Nick Saban in a parking lot, I would feel threatened. He'd be like, "That guy right there." I would feel a little intimidated by Nick. I'm telling you, nice.
Can we get Miss Terry on the show? We need to get Miss Terry on the show.
I do not have her number. I'm not Hugh Freeze. But let's get to the next one here on the list. Sign of the Times. Would they sign it? Cody Parkey, a field goal post.
No.
No. Well, I mean, can you really carry that sucker to get him to sign it?
I mean, would he give one of these? I
think when he sees field goal posts, he gets scared now.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's
PTSD.
Yes, PTSD.
Would Barry Bonds sign a syringe?
Yes.
You think so? Barry Bonds would sign a syringe?
I think I would find it a little humorous.
Now, I think we're past that, too.
Yeah,
not like the month after. No.
He would take it and kill
during the Mitchell report. Yeah, the neck like that also.
Yeah.
Or he would use it. Joke?
He might use it.
This is one of these Barstool Sports moments where we're going out and trying that, and we send someone, we're watching back in the camera. It's like, this is about to happen here. And then Barry Bonds just stabbed that guy with this syringe. Oh, my gosh.
Give me an alcohol wipe and you got yourself a deal.
Okay. Jimbo Fisher, a Taylor Jacobs Gator poster.
I can tell you right now, he's not signing
he would not. He would actually. He would have you arrested on the property for that one, I think.
Yeah.
Would Bill Schneider a hearing aid?
Yeah.
What?
Why not?
What was that? No. Overall, I think these. Yeah. Bill Belichick. Would he sign as many championship rings as possible and posters for you? You think
probably
that would
not?
be No. Be okay.
Probably not.
Yeah. Joe's over here, by the way. He needs to come in. He's on
exactly.
the wall right here. He's not hiding here. I just
it's a good
saw
time
him
to talk about the Jets.
I just feel like I was in a movie. He better come in the studio right here. If you don't sit here and do part of the show here, Joe Ford, by the way, our co-host throughout the years, is having some fun. He's like, I got away from you, and now you're just like Pee Wee Herman. I'm walking in here. When we come back, we are going to talk with Greg Litton, former Major Leaguer, about the World Series, and have some fun as always. It's the Sports Drive, off and running, having some fun with you on this Thursday edition. Happy Halloween.
Regions wants to know, what's a financial tip you'd give your younger self?
Good tattoos aren't cheap. Cheap tattoos aren't good.
There's no one way to manage your money. There's only your way. And Regions' award-winning service makes it easy to handle your money according to your own unique priorities, all with the kind of financial clarity your younger self could only dream of.
It's okay if she makes more money than you. Actually, it's pretty cool.
Because some things are bigger than banking. Switch for good at Regions.com/biggerthanbanking. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Member FDIC.
Saturdays are meant for sports, so Sports Call with Davis and Justin is here to kick off your sports weekend.
College football, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, the PGA Tour. If it's happening on Saturday, we're talking about it.
Plus, weekly interviews with the players, coaches, and fellow journalists.
Be a part of the show by calling or texting in at 623-1330.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin, every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, CraneWorks. The CraneWorks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give CraneWorks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call CraneWorks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
You wanted a toy at the store when you were a kid. Mom said no. You wanted a date as a teenager. The homecoming queen said no. Now, as an adult, you want a car, and all the dealers keep saying no. Finally, there's someone in Pensacola who will say yes. It's Gordon Auto Wholesale on Old Palafox, just 1 block south of Airport Boulevard. Now with a huge selection of third-row SUVs in stock. No credit, bad credit, repos, no problem. Say yes to Gordon Auto Wholesale. Call them at 850-479-9200, 479-9200, and hear yes right now.
Get your vehicle ready for holiday road trips with these Pensacola Honda service specials. Save $10 on a lube, oil, and filter change, brake inspection, top-off fluids, multi-point inspection, and complimentary car wash. Only $44.95. Pensacola Honda's tire rotation, tire balance, and alignment, all for $139. And engine air filter and cabin filter replacement, only $99.95. PensacolaHonda.com or Pensacola Boulevard at W Street. Pensacola Honda, home of the one price, low price guarantee.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia.
Fansville.
Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper.
Delicious.
Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies.
Fan babies.
And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Exciting times right now to talk Boston Bruins hockey and more, as we will here for the next 2 hours. Joining us, as always, our good friends, Eric Vadrine on his phone. Joey and everybody having some fun here today as Joe Ford joining us right now. And he was like, look, I thought I escaped you. And he comes back. This is a Halloween miracle right now. This is like, it is perfect timing for Halloween right now. Yeah. Joe, what's happening, my friend?
Not a lot. Yeah. Doing the high school football game tomorrow. Yeah. So I, got to start preparing for that. So I just came here to pick up some stuff for the game tomorrow.
You had no reason that you were thinking you were coming on air, right? I saw you over the side, like you looked over on the side, like I'm ready to just slip on out. Well, and I was like, you better get over here.
I figured this was probably happening because you guys would have been really upset at me if you had learned that I was here and didn't come up here.
Yes.
So.
Well, I thought, based on how I was dressed, there was a good chance that you might slip out anyway. But, we've been talking, having some fun with Jeff. But I want to talk to you about the games coming up here because one of the big reasons, too, is if you look right now at the way that Ohio State has gone out there and played lately, you got now the way Wisconsin, they dominated that game. Joe, you got to feel comfortable. And I said if it was the past mid-season awards, my Heisman Trophy would go to Joe Burrow just because of the teams he's played. And then my Coach of the Year would go to Ryan Day for what he's accomplished taking over for Brandon. It doesn't matter. People always want to say, like, the roster, all that kind of stuff. No, he's done a better job to me than what Urban Meyer's done. They're dominating teams right now and looking good doing it.
He brings something that Urban didn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, he
cares about
he calls games like an NFL coach.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the pedigree that he has. I mean, Urban, it was the offenses were so dominant, of course, but there are so many layers and there's so many ways that Ryan Day's offense can beat you. Urban, it was pretty simple, right? It was, the power run game out of the spread, but that was all that they were going to be able to do. But Ryan Day's come in, and yeah, they're still operating mostly out of the spread, but you also have Justin Fields lining up under center a lot. You've got the fullbacks. You've got 2 and 3 tight ends. I mean, they're just so versatile and so multiple in ways that they can beat you, and it makes with the talent that they have, with the wide receivers, with the running backs, it makes it very hard to game plan for, because Day is going to attack where you're weakest, and he's seeing that. We're seeing that over and over again. It's amazing. Like, if you would have said that, and again, it's still early. I don't want to sound like a prisoner of the moment, but if you would have told me that the guy that comes in and replaces Urban Meyer is an upgrade, because it certainly looks that way right now. I would have been like, I mean, that's not possible.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Urban set the bar at a level that, nobody's reached. And to see what we're watching right now, I mean, it's really incredible.
First off, though, we're in the heart of football season, but you just took a trip back and had a chance to experience some soccer. How was that?
Well, me and my wife, we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary. So
congratulations.
We went overseas. We went to
London. It's like
London.
A first inning for pitchers. So if you get through that first, it's
exactly.
But no,
we went to London. But actually, one of the most memorable things had to do with American football. I ran into A.J. Green.
Oh, there you go.
There.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
was he in a wheelchair, or was he?
He looked pretty healthy to me. But yeah, there was a.
He's like, I'm not going back to the Bengals. So just, if I said I'm healthy, I'm not. By the way, I don't want to get back there.
Yeah, but no, we were at Harrods, which is a pretty famous department store. It's like a 7-story department store that's a big tourist attraction. A lot of celebrities go. So we were there on I want to say it was Friday night. And
you enjoyed that 7-story department store?
We didn't go to all of them.
Okay, I was going to say that sounds like a nightmare on a Sunday.
I was walking around the men's section where, I mean, it's like Gucci, Dolce & Gabbana, like all these famous name brands that I can't afford. But yeah, I was just walking around seeing
right there,
and I looked and I was like, that's A.J. Green. But, I mean, I was kind of stalking him for a little bit because I was like, I'm not sure. It looks like him. So he was with a couple of teammates. So finally he kind of separated from one of them. So I went up to him. I was like, that's A.J., isn't it? And he's like, yeah, that's him. So, but so I shook his hand. So that was pretty cool. But.
Get as far as literally you have to go to another country to get away from the Bengals these days, And but I think you look at it right now, and in the NFL, from what you've seen so far, do you feel right now San Francisco plays tonight? They play in a little while. They go out there, and I got to admit when I'm wrong. I do. Mm-hmm. You guys don't believe my Hawker pick, but I do. On this moment, I was like Carolina. Is going to go in there the way they played against Washington, and I think that Carolina is going to give San Francisco their first loss. Just waxed them 51-13. I saw a stat that's pretty fascinating. It is the New England Patriots and San Francisco 49ers are 1-2 in defensive efficiency in the history of the NFL right now. Based on, they take the numbers. If you're up by over 3 touchdowns, they just pretty much break it down to those gimme touchdowns that don't mean anything. You can put that back, by the way. He's like, why did I get handed that? I don't Tasca was leaving out there. By the way, our good friends at Sports Cards, Coins, and Collectibles, and our good friends in Gulf Breeze, we rotate these out each week. So she was leaving for the day and wanted to bring those back. And so I'm pointing at you.
You were pointing in the way it was there.
All of these. She's right there right now. Tasca. She's right. Tasca, come on. Here. I know you got to get going. I want to make sure. You can come in here. This is like, no, please. Yeah. You got places to be. I'm sorry. So this is all part of the aura of the show right now. So everybody, thank you, by the way, for everything you do. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah. People are like, oh, a lady on the show. It's all these guys. So thank you, Tasca. I appreciate everything. Right there. She's awesome. Tasca and Kevin do so much. Kevin's the operations manager for our station, and also just an awesome guy you can hear in Cat Country each and every day. And Tasca is the one we have our live reads. If you're looking for a gift, by the way, those are sweet. They're like $25, $35 for the holidays. Awesome, right there.
They're signed, right? They look like they were signed.
They were signed. And Jeff's got a clear view on them. He held it for like 40 minutes. But
thought I did a good job. But yeah, okay.
Joe, I want to ask you though, San Francisco. Do you feel that this is is there some part of you that's like, man, it's still San Francisco? Like that? No.
They have built that team so quickly and just so efficiently and just the right way. I mean, it starts at the football and then you go out. I mean, and on the lines. I mean, they're just beasts. The defensive line. We were. It was really interesting. We were talking. I remember, having the conversation with you guys at the start of the year, and we were kind of questioning the whole Jimmy Garoppolo thing because, he's got a great record, but he just didn't look like the franchise level quarterback. But he doesn't have to be elite. He has to be really good, which I think he's been. But they have him on what you would have to say right now is a very friendly contract. When the top of the line quarterbacks are in the mid 30s now, and he's around $25 million, and they have so many studs on the defensive line, the offensive line. Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. From day one they've come in and they have built that team in such a smart way. And yeah, I'm very nervous if I have to play the 49ers in the playoffs, and they're going to be a big problem for several years to come.
Cash it or smash it. You remember how this works. He's like, I sadly I do. But Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield, who will last longer in the NFL?
Kyler.
Jeff?
I've got to go Baker.
You gonna go Baker on that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
You guys are giving me a lot to work with here. I appreciate both of this by the kindness of one single answer. Why?
Well, Kyler and me, I think he's smart running the football. He can. We've talked before about how Baker, he seems so uncomfortable inside the pocket. Kyler looks pretty comfortable.
He's like the show
pocket.
MTV Boiling Point, too. I really do. Honestly, Baker is at that point where the energy is, at first it's okay, and he's getting mad at people, but, now they're 2-7 or whatever they are, and he's like, everybody around me, I hate you. He's starting to get angrier, and everybody around him is feeding. The media loves that. They're just going to continue to throw it at him. So he better have, a good shrink that comes down and is like, Baker, you need to stop right now. It is okay to have a bad season and come back the next year. People do that. But if he doesn't get out of this funk, I don't think he can ever survive because it's getting worse.
And look, my thing with Kyler is if Kyler stays in an offensive scheme like that, I think he can last a really long time. For Baker, he's a poor man's Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Everybody hates him. He knows everybody hates him, but he kind of feeds off that. But that doesn't mean he's going to play well. But somehow he continues to start in the NFL somewhere.
Yeah. Would you guys agree that that Anthony Rendon, and congratulations to the Nationals, as we talked about earlier, is the nice version of Brooks Koepka, the golfer? Would you say that? Is he the nice? Do you know Brooks Koepka?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because Brooks Koepka, they'll be like, oh, he held out from eagle from the middle of the fairway, and he's like no, but nothing. He wins the championships, and they want some moment of that final putt where they're like, and he's just high fives the caddy. He's like, yeah, I won another Masters right here. But Rendon's the smiley version of that. He hits a home run and then gets the double, and he's like. They want so Soto's over there biting his chest he's just owned somewhere, and then Rendon's just smiling. He had the 2-run homer and everything he's done.
I
great job.
See that. For somebody who follows baseball very casually, you could. I had no idea until the playoffs that Rendon put up the numbers that he did.
He's insane.
I had no idea that he was. Yeah, I remember he was a very highly touted prospect. And I know he was a really good third baseman, but I had no idea that he was putting up the stats that he did. So yeah, there's something to that.
And I think too, also they're champions, but he did it. The hardest thing too is when you're number 2, and your hero leaves, and then you have to become number 1, and that's what happened with Bryce Harper. They were Bryceless, and all of a sudden they come in there.
Never heard of him.
And yeah, exactly. Nobody heard of him today. No memes with Bryce Harper Day. So Bryce is gone, gets $400 million. And Anthony Rendon had to become the hero, and he did in a bigger way than ever. So that's even tougher when your star leaves and you have to become the star overnight, and you are the star, and more than that. And he's been that guy. But they defy. We were talking about this at the beginning of the show, and I know we have to take a break coming up here. And my wife's probably like, "Oh, we have Halloween things coming." But I'm telling you right now, I have never seen a team in the history of sports, Joe, that have defied what is momentum in sports more than Washington. Ever. If you watch any of those games, it was just coasting. Even last night in Game 7, Greinke's coasting with a 2-0 lead. They couldn't touch him. I'm going to get a snack. I came back, and they're like, and that's the end of the inning. I'm like, 3 outs. All right, there we go. And then the next inning, and all of a sudden, Rendon hits the home run, but we were talking about it. It's like, okay, he's Rendon. He can do that. So it's 2-1. You still feel comfortable. He had 70 pitches at that point. You have more time. And then all of a sudden, they get the hit, and they pull Greinke, and then the two-run homer off the post. It wasn't a blast. It wasn't like a big poppy shot. It hits the post on an opposite field shot on Kendrick, and the next thing you know, Joe, you have a guy that now it's 3-2, and the Nationals are going to put their pitchers that have been just dominating, which they did. They did that every game. They found a way to defy odds as an underdog.
Which is even more incredible when you consider the recent history in the postseason that the Nationals have had. Is that, I mean, one was, they hadn't won a playoff series since they were the Expos, right? I mean, and they most recent 2 or 3 years they got into the postseason and they had those demons that they had to exercise and to be able to really play as if there was no pressure whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I mean, that to have that sort of mindset. I mean, that's in a game, baseball, where so much is made about,
You're right.
The between the ears.
You're right. And I'm going to be getting going here in a little while. I know we got Eric and Jeff and Joe's, thank God, and we're going to have some fun with that. But I'll be heading out, having some Halloween with my 3-year-old. Yeah. But I want to leave you with this quote. Today, we all have busy lives and things happen, so I want to leave you with a philosophical quote. Jeff, guys, all of you can listen. It's Joe mainly here. Pats are 8-0 and Jets are 1-7. A really nice guy. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. We'll be back for more. It's the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola.
Imogen and I started Jewelers Trade Shop in 1956.
Our goal at Jewelers Trade Shop has always been to give our customers the best experience imaginable. It's something that my grandfather instilled in my father, and without a doubt, my father has passed on to me. Those basic core goals and values that shaped our business 56 years ago are still very much alive and a driving force behind Jewelers Trade Shop today.
For 3 generations, the story continues. Jewelers Trade Shop in downtown Pensacola.
I'm really hungry, but I don't want to spend a fortune.
Well, you're in luck. Now you can get Denny's Super Slam with 2 eggs, 2 bacon strips, 2 sausage links, hash browns, and 2 pancakes, all for just $5.99.
That is a great deal. So I get all of that for just $5.99?
You sure do.
Wow, this meal just keeps getting better and better.
Some might say super.
I see what you did there.
The $5.99 Super Slam is back. See you at Denny's.
Limited time only. Price and participation may vary. No substitutions.
I'm Mina Kimes, host of the new podcast, ESPN Daily. Each morning, we'll bring you a deep dive into a single story from one of ESPN's hundreds of reporters. ESPN Daily is brought to you by Indeed, helping over 3 million businesses worldwide find their newest star players. Post job openings with skills tests. Then sort, review, and communicate with candidates from an online dashboard. Sprint to Indeed.com/ESPN Daily and find a winner. Terms and conditions apply.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns, and that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there.
We are broadcasters. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Guys, the secret is out. If you want healthy sex, your body needs nitric oxide. And now you can boost your nitric oxide production faster than you thought possible with Ageless Male Tonight, the absurdly fast formula from the #1 brand in male enhancement. Just take 1 capsule an hour before romantic activity. You'll get clinically tested ingredients that rapidly boost nitric oxide production, and it won't go unnoticed. Rush to 7-Eleven and get Ageless Male Tonight.
Regions wants to know, what's a financial tip you'd give your younger self?
Retirement is the best form of self-care.
Regions believes banking on your own terms is a big deal. Maybe you value great service and convenient solutions, or you simply want a banker that gets your priorities. Take control of your finances with the kind of financial clarity your younger self could only dream of.
There's no shame in showing up just for the free food.
Because some things are bigger than banking. Switch for good at Regions.com/biggerthanbanking. Regions, official bank of the SEC. Member FDIC.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola is your home to UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
I love when the beat drops right there. Welcome in to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1 FM. Eric Vadrine here as Chad Brilliante stepped out to go do a little trick-or-treating. More important things to do in life. Obviously, being a father is the most important job that you can possibly have. So shout out to Chad. I really appreciate that he's going out to go do such a thing. Joined here with Joe Ford, Jeff Price. And Jeff, just wanted to let you know, interesting fact since you brought in the Oregon basketball. One of the things, since we are approaching that time for Christmas, one of the things my wife really, really wants this year for Christmas is a Bowl shirt, because I'm a big Denver Nuggets guy. So she just thinks it's so cool that it's Bowl.
Yeah.
She just loves it for some reason. And, you know, we did a fantasy draft in NBA 2K, and he made first team All-NBA for me, so I'll probably get one too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm just having a little fun with the Oregon here, and we got Joe Ford in here. So Joe, do you have anything you want to say to Chad as he's listening about your New York Jets?
Well, I mean, let's be real, okay? I have nothing to say to him because there is nothing to say.
There's nothing to say.
There's nothing to say. I mean, no, yeah. They're what are they? 1-6. I mean, I did not know it was possible to hate such a strong word, but I can't think of a stronger one.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it was possible to hate somebody as much as I hate Adam Gase. I did not know that was possible.
It's funny that you bring that up. So
he's the only coach that has been able to successfully scheme to stop Le'Veon Bell. Let's think about that.
That is, I don't know if that's really a talent or more so just how bad you are. But, you know, you bring up a good point because I was talking with Chad about this. You know, we're about halfway through with the NFL season, and we can definitely open up the phone lines as well. You can shoot us a text at 850-623-1330. We're about halfway through, and the writing is starting to get on the wall with certain NFL coaches. What coaches at this point, and we can go around the room here, what coaches would you say are for sure going to get fired at the end of the season? And then what coaches would you say have one foot in and one foot out the door? So for me, whenever I look at coaches I think for sure are getting fired, one, I think Dan Quinn over in Atlanta, that's for sure has to go, just because you just have too much talent to where you cannot afford to just learn and try to fix things. The second one, I think, obviously has to be Freddie Kitchens, just because the team itself is very talented to the point that you cannot afford to continue to let this go on because you have all these players in their primes, Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, you got Nick Chubb, you got Kareem, you just have talent all over the place. And then to me, even though I know that it's a first-year coach, and we saw last year with Steve Wilkes with the Arizona Cardinals get fired after 1 year. Vance Joseph got fired after 1 year in Denver. I think Zach Taylor is definitely out because they brought him in as an offensive mind, and there's nothing about the offense in Cincinnati that looks attractive to build for the future. You have the AFC leading rusher in Joe Mixon, who obviously can't even get past the line of scrimmage. And I say this all the time, Space Jam is a fictional movie. He did not lose his talent overnight. So you know the talent is there. So what is the common denominator here? It has to be Zach Taylor. So I think those three coaches are for sure getting fired. And I think obviously you have some that are 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I know Mike Tomlin got a little bit of some heat early in the year, but with Ben Roethlisberger getting hurt, I think that bought him an extra year. But we'll come back for the second hour with that conversation. Remember, we're going to open up the phone lines as well. 623-1330. Go ahead and shoot us a text. Let us know who you think is going to get fired at the end of the year. And we'll come back for the second hour right here on the Sports Drive. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is, bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the second hour of the Sports Drive, we're going to talk about what coaches are on the hot seat. Who do we need to be concerned about? What jobs are going to be open at the end of the year? As well as we'll dive into the matchup tonight between the Arizona Cardinals as well as the undefeated San Francisco 49ers. And someone might have a Jared Hawker pick up their sleeve.
All-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl. Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr. Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 for Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Emma scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
Welcome into the second hour of the Sports Drive. This is Eric Padrine here. Got Jeff Price, Joe Ford in studio. And we're going to carry on with our conversation about what coaches are on the hot seat that you think will for sure get fired at the end of the year. We got a text from Ethan saying that he thinks that Bruce Arians might get fired as well as John Gruden. So thank you, Ethan, for listening. And thank you for giving us your two coaches right there. I could see Bruce Arians getting a little bit of consideration, but I don't know so much about this year for sure. And then John Gruden, they're so financially invested that that's going to be a tough one to follow. I also got a text message here. It says, I know he won't get fired, but Jason Garrett needs to go. So I don't know who this
Jerry
person
in
is.
Dallas. Yeah.
I don't know who this person is. This could be what do they call it? The Jameis Winston. He got the he had the general manager making a fake
like
Twitter.
the burner account.
The burner account. So I wonder if this is a burner account from Mr. Jerry Jones here, because I know the area code's 850, but we all know he can afford a phone
for sure.
In the Pensacola
Glad
area,
he's listening to us.
Yeah, so shout out to Jerry Jones here who thinks Jason Garrett's going to go. But I gave y'all my list. I definitely think Dan Quinn, Zach Taylor, and I think Freddie Kitchens are my three for sure that's going to go. What you got, Joe?
Well, I want to address the Bruce Arians thing. This is his first year with the Buccaneers, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I think given the fact that he has been relatively successful with the offenses that he's had in the past. I mean, you go back to the Arizona Cardinals with the Warner Fitzgerald before that, or he was, with the Steelers, in Ben Roethlisberger's prime. So I think he's got a little bit more cachet, and he's going to get the benefit of the doubt. I know you're a big Jameis Winston guy, but he is now in the last year of his rookie deal. The Buccaneers do not have to extend him.
They do not. And, more so since I am a huge Jameis guy, I almost think it's better for him to go somewhere else because they have not given him anything to work with whatsoever. He's getting sacked 28 times already.
Yeah.
Defense is horrible. I literally looked, just for the sake of this conversation, I knew it was going to come up. both of the running backs for the Buccaneers are available in my fantasy league.
Mine
so
too.
like, you know what I mean? Like the guy literally has nothing that he can hold his hat on. The defense is atrocious, and the line is atrocious, and the running backs are not that great. So he really doesn't have anything to work with. And since I am a Jameis guy, I think it's best if he goes somewhere else, similar to Drew Brees whenever he was with the Chargers. But that's just my take on it.
Yeah,
but sorry
no,
about that,
as far as Arians and his job security, I really don't think he has anything to worry about, because I mean he's going to have the benefit of the doubt. If they elect to move on from Jameis, I mean it's going to be if they elect to draft the quarterback or whatever they elect to do. I mean, Bruce Arians is going to have a pretty heavy say in what that goes on.
He seems to like Jameis.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and it is possible too that they elect to do that. But I mean, they have a lot to address, and the only way they can do that is really through the draft. And but no, I don't think Arians is in any trouble. The one name that I think that I would add to yours would be Pat Shurmur. I think nothing that he has done leads me to believe that he's the guy to lead the team forward. This is now, I think, his third year with the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. Could be the second. But yeah, I
think it's the second.
Maybe, yeah, it probably is a second. But the fact that they just drafted Daniel Jones, he's probably 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because they'll probably give another year to see how that works. And the name that you mentioned that I would disagree with would be Zach Taylor. I think he was dealt a pretty bad deck. They had injuries. The offensive lineman from Alabama, Jonah Williams. Their offensive line has been bad for several years, and that doesn't help. AJ Green's been out, and they're. I mean, he's got Sean McVay's number in his cell phone. I mean, that's why he got the job, right?
Right.
So, I think that they will draft a quarterback, and they will, how the new quarterback goes will determine how Zach Taylor. So I would not look at this year as a referendum on him.
Well, since we got Jeff Price in the building, it looks like since he's an Oregon guy, he might be getting a Justin Herbert Bengals jersey. So if he goes to the Bengals, are we purchasing the jersey?
I mean, sure. Yeah, I mean, I just because I love Justin Herbert. Now, will I ever wear that jersey? Absolutely not. No, I will hang it in my house, and there it is.
Chad wears Patriots jerseys, and he seems.
Well, Chad's made a lot of bad decisions in his life, and the Patriots one's just a continuing. It's no, and to get to the coaching thing, I agree with you on pretty much all of them, and the only one I might add, and it's a big if. It kind of just depends on how the second half of the season goes for him, and John Elway's decision. We know he's rough and tumble the way he is. Nick Fangio, and just because there's so much drama kind of surrounding that with the whole Joe Flacco's neck injury and all this other stuff, now Flacco's speaking out, and this is kind of a new start for Flacco, and it just hadn't worked out for him. And I think a good thing for them was getting rid of Emmanuel Sanders, because he's been stirring up a lot of trouble. He needed to go, and hey, he's happy with San Francisco. The one that I 100% agree with is Freddie Kitchens, and the reason I say that is, like you said, they have so much talent. I don't know if Freddie Kitchens was ready for that in the first place.
Way over his head.
Right, and there's so much drama with that whole organization. Cleveland had a little bit of success last year, and now they want more, and they're not getting it. Now this was the year for them. Remember, everybody said this is it. Now we're going to be in the playoffs and all this other stuff. We got Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. Baker's going to lead us to the playoffs. It's not working out right now, and I just think they're going to be tired of it, especially with everything that's gone on in the past.
Yeah, we got another text message from Ethan. He thinks Andy Reid might have to go if he still can't get to the Super Bowl. So, another interesting take there. The thing is, though, with the Chiefs, right now they're so banged up. Mm-hmm. They're blessed to be in a really bad division right now, similar to the Patriots, which is why they've been so dominant. They literally start the year off with 6 victories in their pocket, so they play 10 games as opposed to 16 games. But the Chiefs themselves are so blessed to where once they get all of the bullets in the chamber, they're going to be fine. And I don't see Andy Reid necessarily having to worry, I should say, because ultimately he's getting guys outside of Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins to perform at a higher level as wide receivers and make the offense flow phenomenally. Pat Mahomes obviously is basically the next heir apparent to run the league once Tom Brady finally retires in the next 7 years, I guess. But you look at Pat Mahomes, he's the next guy up. Aaron Rodgers is 34, Tom Brady's 42, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, all those guys, we know the passing of the torch is going to go to Pat Mahomes. And who's going to contend with Pat Mahomes? At this point, we don't know. We thought it could be Baker Mayfield because everybody thought Cleveland was going to be the next up-and-coming team. Obviously, that's not working out. A coaching change is probably going to be necessary. Kyler Murray, the Arizona Cardinals, even though that they're 3-4, they're showing tremendous amount of improvements already. David Johnson's banged up. They still don't have all the bullets in the chamber over in Arizona. Christian Kirk came on really good against the Saints. He's their guy that they drafted out of Texas A&M. So the next quarterback up is Pat Mahomes. And knowing that they have that type of security to where they can run the league together makes me not think that Andy Reid's going anywhere anytime soon. So we talked about, the coaches that we think are for sure going to leave. The coaches that I think have the 1 foot in and the 1 foot out are the coach over in Denver, for sure, I definitely think has the 1 foot in and 1 foot out. Jason Garrett definitely has 1 foot in and 1 foot out, strictly because they have too much talent as well. Other than that, whenever I was looking at it, I don't see a lot of turnover necessarily happen this year in the NFL. I think it was it last year or the year before, they had like 9 head coaches that got fired. I don't see anything close to that happening this year, strictly because there's so many young quarterbacks in the NFL that they need to make sure that they protect their investments. The 1 foot in, 1 foot out category, I mean, do you have any coaches on y'all's list that you could think of that are with 1 foot in, 1 foot out? I would go ahead and also add Tomlin just because the patience is starting to get a little thin over in Pittsburgh. But other than that, I don't see a lot of turnover happening outsad of the three that I
would hope Adam Gase would be on that list.
I should add Adam Gase.
I mean,
he has to go.
Yeah.
I think he definitely has the 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah, I realize this is first year, but I mean it's one thing to be 1-6. It's another thing to be 1-6 and look as inept as they have. And he has done absolutely nothing outside of being the quote offensive coordinator when Peyton Manning was in Denver. And outside of that, he has done nothing to suggest that he is in any way, shape, or form competent in running a team, let alone an offense. So,
I mean, and the thing with Adam Gase is what people need to realize is some people just are not leaders, period.
Yeah.
There's just some people that are just not leaders.
Mm-hmm.
How many people?
And that's okay.
No,
Right.
it is. It really
Yeah.
is. It really is. I mean, and that's the thing. When you look at some of the coaches that try to get head coaching jobs that were under the Bill Belichick tree,
Mm-hmm.
such as Romeo Crennel, Charlie Weiss, and things like that, they were good at their job. Whenever they started to get exposed was when they started to have to be leaders. And there's just certain people I don't believe are good leaders. And I think Adam Gase falls into that category. I think if you want to have him be a innovative mind and someone to be creative and just focus on that, I think he would be fine. But when you have someone who comes across in his interviews as very incompetent, and that's the voice of the locker room, you're going to have an incompetent football team.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Jets, as much as Chad likes to rag on the Jets, I think the Jets have some really solid pieces to work with that it's very imperative that you get the right guy to steer that ship. And I don't think Adam Gase is that guy. Now, Joe, with you being a Jets fan, how do you feel? Do you think that Adam Gase needs to go?
Yes.
Or, you want to buy him some time?
No, I do not want to buy him
Okay.
any time.
Okay, so
I've
that
seen
was
enough.
obviously a quick answer. So then let's transition into this. If he's got to go, do you have an eye on a replacement?
Well, I mean, the guy that everybody wants would be Lincoln Riley.
The job security in college is so.
Boy, that would
good.
be fun if Lincoln.
I
Riley's
understand
with the
that,
Jets.
but I mean, he's the guy that everybody's, everybody, Cowboys or whatever. I mean, and you're right. I mean, I think the Jets is an attractive job because they do have Sam Darnold, and when he's not seeing ghosts, he's pretty good young quarterback. I mean, Le'Veon Bell is only 27. Jamal Adams, if he grows up, Quinnen Williams on the interior of that defense. I know C.J. Mosley's got a lot of injury problems right now, but yeah, I mean, there's building blocks to work with. You're going to have, in all likelihood, a top 5 pick in this next draft. So I mean, I could see the appeal for a guy like a Lincoln Riley or somebody like that. I mean, the thing about the NFL is just like there's so many retreads. I mean, Adam Gase went from Miami to the Jets, and you could go on and on about the coaches that have failed at one place, they come over and they fail at the next place. So if the Jets are just going to do that, then whatever. It's just that's what they've always done.
So basically, you don't want a recycled coach.
I don't want a recycled coach. I mean, I want to go out there and I want to swing for the fence. If Lincoln Riley says no, fine. But I mean, he's proven to be the innovative mind, and the quote that the owner said when they hired Adam Gase was that Adam Gase is coaching football to where it's going. Okay.
Boy, that seems like
It sounds like when you make that kind of comment, you're kind of convincing yourself.
Yeah,
you're convincing yourself and trying to justify to the people why I hired this guy.
Yeah.
That's not really the vote of confidence that you necessarily want heading into the position. Yeah. And I remember that press conference. He definitely looked like if he got drug tested that day, he probably would have.
How is anybody? And in
what do they call it? A probation period.
Yeah, and in retrospect, should we have expected anything other than what we've gotten by how he looked in that press conference?
Yeah, that was definitely a rough one. Well, unlike Adam Gase, we are not going anywhere. We're going to take a quick break. Whenever we come back, we're going to try to get a hold of legendary coach Pat Dye over there at Auburn, see how Auburn's going to bounce back. They got 2 losses. Just my personal opinion, should be 3 to Oregon. Shout out to Mr. Price over there. But we're going to try to get a hold of Pat Dye, and we'll be coming back right here on the Sports Drive at ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1 FM.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin, bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Dave Ramsey here. A home is a great investment, and whether you're buying a home to live in or as a rental property, great floors are a must to keep up that investment. The Floor Store on 9 Mile in Pensacola has great brand name flooring like Mohawk, Cortec, Dreamweaver, Shaw, and more. Plus, the Floor Store sells and installs wood floors, tile, luxury vinyl, and carpet, and they do showers and baths, kitchens and backsplashes, mosaic tiles, and fireplaces. The Floor Store's designer, Andrea, loves flooring. She designs your flooring to create the biggest impact and durability. But when you buy flooring, you might want it installed right, and that's where Rodney comes in. He came to the Floor Store bringing over 30 years experience as a residential contractor. The right quality, the right design, and the right installation. The Floor Store, located at 312 East 9 Mile Road. Check them out at shopthefloorstore.com.
Fall is here and riding season is not over. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola has some big events happening this weekend. Saturday, the SCPOA Burger Burn. Noon till 3 at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. The Second Class Petty Officer Association will be grilling burgers and dogs for donations. Harley's Angels serving beer, soda, and water for donations. Sunday, it's the Suicide Prevention Ride for Life. Registration at 11. 10 per rider, 5 per passenger, and $10 poker hands. Harley's Angels serving drinks and brunch for donations. Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. Let's ride.
ESPN Pensacola is your home for UWF Argos football. Catch every game, home or away, on Pensacola's home for local sports. This week, North Greenville is in town to take on the Argos. Pre-game starts at 3:30, kickoff at 4. Hear all the play-by-play action right here on your home for Argos football and local sports. ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1. UWF football is presented in part by Summer Vista Assisted Living.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all gonna talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk that compelling moron. He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cow turd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM. I'm Eric the Dream, joined with Joe Ford, Mr. Jeff Price. We're in the building. Chad is doing a little trick-or-treating with the fake news report. The silver hair. Looks like he's getting ready to go to a Raiders game. But he's actually out to go get some trick-or-treating. Leighton's going to be a butterfly, and Chad's going to be fake news. So interesting combination there. Me personally, if I have a kid, I'm definitely going to go Dr. Evil and Mini-Me. That's just me. I think that would be a really cool one, and maybe like a Space Jam one or something like that. But kudos to Chad. I'm happy he's out there going to do some trick-or-treating. There's definitely more important things in life. Family is obviously going to take the pie every single time. Joe, do you have like an interesting Halloween costume you ever wear?
Well, I remember one year I dressed up. I was probably like 6 or 7 years old, and my dad said, "Hey, why don't you dress up as a fat man?" So I put on one of his sweaters,
like a Big Mama suit.
Yeah, like I had one of his sweaters on, and we stuffed it for pillows, and these oversized pants, and I was walking around, and people were laughing so much at me that I thought that as a kid I thought they were laughing at me,
So like embarrassed in a way?
Yeah, I was embarrassed because my dad's like, Joe, they think your costume is funny. It's like they're not laughing at you, but I was like, no, I don't want to wear it. I don't want to wear it.
Laughing with you.
Yeah, exactly. But I always love the pictures of when sports fans have have babies and they dress them up as baby versions of coaches. Like baby Andy Reid or
with the little mustache or something.
Mark Mangino from Kansas. So those are I always love those.
What about you, Jeff? Did you have like a really funny or cool childhood Halloween costume that you rocked?
No, well. I mean, probably the funniest one I had is I told you I was going to come in with it and then realize this studio is not as big as I thought.
Yeah.
Was the blow-up, T-Rex. I was going to wear it today,
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't do that here. But anyway.
It would have been a tight squeeze.
Yeah. No, because, where I'm from in the north end of the county, you don't really trick-or-treat. Like, you just kind of go to, the church or something that's hosting that. Because you would have to walk, 4 miles to the next house. And as you can see, I don't walk 4 miles to the next house. Other than that, I think probably in college we had a big Halloween party or whatever, and I cut 2 holes in a sheet and said, "Boo."
Okay,
that was pretty much it. No, I'm pretty boring.
My favorite costume that I was the White Power Ranger.
Nice.
I used to think the White Power Ranger was the coolest thing. He had the sword, and then he could go white or be the Green Ranger, and he had the little flute that would bring the Zord out of the water. Oh my gosh! And then I was so disappointed when I realized my actual toy didn't actually do that. But overall, that was probably my favorite Halloween costume. Obviously, I can't fit into it now, but dear Jesus, if I could rock it again, I most certainly would. But we're gonna talk a little bit about sport villains. So, and we're gonna open up the phone lines. You can shoot us a text at 850-623-1330. The biggest sport villains. Now, let's go ahead and lay the groundwork here as to what this entails. So, the one guy who has brought, and think about it, horror. We're in Halloween. So, the one guy that's brought a lot of tears to fan bases, or is just scary, or mean, or however you want to think of it. Everybody has different things that are scary to them. For me, I don't do any of that supernatural stuff. I just stay away. I don't even want to. I don't want any piece of that. That's just not for me. But the horror in sports. So it could be someone who just is laying down the hit stick like in Madden on the football field. So it might be Ray Lewis to some. Whatever the case may be, shoot us a text at 850-623-1330 with who your sport villain is. And I will tell you my sport villain is Tom Brady. And not so much because Chad is a Patriots fan, but we got a phone caller here. Let's get him through. Thank you for giving us a call at ESPN Pensacola. Who we got on the line?
This is Jeff from Pensacola. I want to give a coach I think that I think might get fired this year if things don't go right and stuff, and why I think it might happen.
Okay, what you got, Jeff?
I think Bill O'Brien, if they don't win the division, he has a really good shot because, they've had Deshaun Watson. They're going all in with the O-line, with the guy they got from the Dolphins. And if I can get on the air with that. Yeah, and Jeremy Tonko, and, they have they got DeAndre Hopkins, and, so I just want to go on here with that and just say if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, Jeff. And that's actually a really good sleeper pick because none of us actually even consider that.
Yeah.
So we definitely appreciate that insight. Sure. And, you bring up a good point because whenever they made that trade, they were trading away draft picks like it was candy, since we are on the topic of trick-or-treating. But, they definitely were handing out draft picks left and right to definitely go all in this year and try to get some protection for Deshaun Watson. I don't know if they were just really trigger happy because they saw Andrew Luck retired early and they knew that they needed to get some protection for Deshaun Watson. But definitely bringing in Laramie Tunsil. And don't forget they also got Kenny Stills in that trade as well. And go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to say, I find it kind of bad luck now. They could have kept JaVale Clowney, but he wasn't going to sign. But, I'm sure they wish they had him right now. And, my favorite costume growing up was probably the White Power Ranger. And that was cool. And thank you, guys, and have a good night.
All right, Jeff. Thanks a lot, Jeff. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, as kind of like a sleeper pick because, I think that the Texans have, with the amount of talent that they have in the past few years, they've probably underachieved. The one thing that I would say, though, is that it certainly appears that the owner has more or less sided with Bill O'Brien because they let the GM go.
Is that McNair?
Yeah, you're right. And then I think McNair passed away, if I'm not mistaken.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, Bill O'Brien is the guy that I think is really calling the shots. But I mean, yeah, I could see that because they are throwing a lot of eggs into this basket right now, and if it doesn't work, then yeah. So I like that. I like that call.
Would you put them in the 1 foot in, 1 foot out?
If they miss the playoffs, yes,
for sure. Yeah. So like with the sports, the horror guys. My pick is going to be Tom Brady in terms of just the biggest scary guy because there's certain, and as an athlete, you kind of know, there's just certain teams, there's certain athletes, there's certain situations when you get into them, you know that this is prime opportunity for this person to work their magic and do their thing. And the amount of tears, I'm not going to say that I cried, but definitely the frustration and the anger of knowing that until there's 0 on the clock, you always believe certain people and certain teams have a chance. And whenever I saw Jacksonville putting it on the Patriots, I'm like, yes, finally they're going to. And then what happens? Mr. Horror Movie himself, Tom Brady, comes in and does his thing. Yeah. 28-3 against the Falcons. The Patriots find a way. And a lot of people like giving Tom Brady that credit, but my philosophy is regardless of who's the quarterback, that defense has to stop them in order for the comeback to be possible. So I give it more to the Patriots than I do give it to Tom Brady. But in terms of just the horror villain in sports, because it's kind of like, and perfect example too with Tom Brady, Halloween, the movie with Michael Myers. What are they on, like the 8th or 9th movie into the series? Like he just does not die. Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady just will not die. He just keeps coming back year after year after year after year. We've seen Andrew Luck retire. We've seen Jake Locker retire after 4 years. I'm just bringing the quarterbacks up that are younger that are just retiring over and over and over, but this guy is still in the league. It's almost like he's the Michael Myers. He's the guy. He's not fast. Michael Myers never runs. He's like a trigonometry major. Like, he just knows the perfect angles to take to catch the people that are running. Tom Brady can't run. Michael Myers can't run. Michael Myers doesn't die. Tom Brady doesn't retire. That's my pick, is Tom Brady. So who's your pick, Joe?
Well, when we're talking about villains, but horror villains, I mean, I can really only think of one guy, and this is because my dad, who is a lifelong Chicago Bears fan, the name that he's going to say is Brett Favre, in that Brett Favre playing against the Chicago Bears was always going to beat him, and Aaron Rodgers has kind of continued on that legacy. But it wasn't just, you talked about how, Tom Brady, always gets the job done. It's not just that Brett Favre always seemed to get the job done. It's just the way that he got the job done. He's rolling out from the line of scrimmage. It's a lookout block. He's running away from 4 defensive end, and then a little gopher pops out of the field, and the defensive end closest to Favre trips over it, and he's out of the play. And then Brett Favre's running around, and he throws the ball behind his head. It careens off of a linebacker's helmet into the waiting arms of Antonio Freeman. I mean, that's how he won. So that to me, when you were talking about describing the type of villain that for Chicago Bear fans like my dad, I mean, Brett Favre would be that guy.
As a Packers fan, I am A-okay with that. Well, what about you, Mr. Price? Who's your villain? Mr. Bo Nix?
Don't even get me started on that. I've tried
Too soon?
Look, I'm just trying to make it through a season without thinking about that game. And
I feel your pain.
So I've got 2 quick ones, and I think the Saints fans out there will agree. Any referee that was at that Rams-Saints game last year, I'm friends with a lot of Saints fans, and I still hear about it. Now, if they win the championship this year, that all goes away. We don't worry about it anymore. But regardless, I got to go Bud Selig because he called a tie in an All-Star game when it means something. And then if I look, and I stay on the baseball side of it, just thinking Nats and Astros, John Rocker. I mean, no more hated man in Major League Baseball. I mean, he could throw the ball really hard. You didn't know where it was going to go, whatever. But when he went on he had that interview before they played the Mets, and he threw out the racial slurs and the F-bombs and all that kind of stuff, and they started throwing batteries at him and whatever, throwing children at him. Who knows what was thrown at him. When you say villain, that's the guy that pops in my head.
Yeah, that's John Rocker. I know I'm a little bit younger, but I remember him playing with the Braves, and I remember playing a triple play baseball on the Xbox and having John Rocker and throwing 98, 100 miles an hour, and that was like my guy. I used to always trade for John Rocker as my closer because I always liked a fast pitcher. Mm-hmm. And I always liked Barry Bonds because when they had the strike zone on the video game, they had it where like it was a big circle based off how good they were. And his circle covered the whole screen. So, like, if you had Barry Bonds, you knew that if they just threw it in this vicinity, that you're about to smack this sucker into the bay. So I definitely remember that from the video game. We got a couple interesting names that came in through text message. We have Mark Sanchez, Alex Ovechkin, Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens' name's popped up twice.
Yeah.
I like Terrell Owens though. I like those outspoken players. As we've talked about before, I love Richard Sherman. Vontaze Burfict definitely would get some votes if this was the BCS here. And Ruud Van Nistelrooy. I'm not sure. Is that a hockey?
It's a striker for Manchester United.
See, I'm so glad we got the soccer guy in the building.
We go.
And Patrick Vieira.
Speaking of soccer, so whoever football, whoever the guy who came in, another big villain would be Luis Suarez, striker for Barcelona. He was a guy that in the World Cup back in 2014, he was the guy that bit the Italian guy on the shoulder.
I think I remember that.
I remember that. I didn't know that was him though.
Yeah, it was Luis Suarez. So yeah, he's a big guy. I mean, you talk about villains, and especially villains that you're afraid of. If you're a big soccer fan, try playing against a team that Cristiano Ronaldo or Leo Messi's playing for.
Yeah, I know every year on FIFA, their overalls are always the highest. So yeah. They definitely are there. And we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're definitely going to end on this one because this person is definitely the biggest villain of all time, and that's going to be Aaron Hernandez.
Saturdays are meant for sports, so Sports Call with Davis and Justin is here to kick off your sports weekend.
College football, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, the PGA Tour. If it's happening on Saturday, we're talking about it.
Plus, weekly interviews with the players, coaches, and fellow journalists.
Be a part of the show by calling or texting in at 623-1330.
Sports Call with Davis and Justin every Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
To give batters a different look, pitchers throw a changeup. Your idea of a different look is sunglasses. That's true. But La Quinta Inns and Suites is really taking the different look thing to a new level. Definitely a major league makeover, starting with a bolder, brighter lobby full of comfortable spaces to let you settle in. Or chill out in front of a big, flat screen like Wingo would. Oh, you know it. It's a changing La Quinta look to help you get in the zone and look sharp when you hit that big meeting. Prepare to win at business with La Quinta Inns and Suites. Book now at LQ.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, Dilly Dilly!
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick. Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
Getting knocked down on the football field makes you tough. But getting back up makes you tougher. At Goodyear, we call that determination. A willingness to put in more hours, more reps, and more heart to reach a bar that's sky high. Because the Goodyear blimp doesn't show up for just anybody. So don't be just anybody. Be blimp-worthy. Goodyear, more driven.
Terry Fader presents A Very Terry Christmas.
You know, you look really comfortable. Terry, I do this all the time when Laura's not around. Oh, okay.
A holiday-themed performance full of singing, comedy, and his colorful cast of characters. Celebrate the holidays with Terry Fader, the voice of entertainment. Live for 2 shows at Beau Rivage on November 23rd. Visit BeauRivage.com for tickets. Schedule subject to change. Some restrictions apply. Under 5 not admitted.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330, 99.1 FM. Eric Vadrine here. Got Joe Ford in the building and Mr. Jeffrey Price. And getting ready for the game of the week, right? The Cardinals and the 49ers.
I thought you were talking about Baylor and West Virginia. My bad.
No, definitely not. I'm just playing with you. But no, the Cardinals and the 49ers, I'm actually really intrigued by this matchup. Strictly because that I think both of those teams are definitely going to be competing for the division for some years to come. The Cardinals are a little banged up. They don't have David Johnson. They don't have Edmonds. But they made a trade for Kenyon Drake that I'm fully on board with. I thought was definitely a really good move. The Dolphins, they're getting close to the trade deadline, so they knew that they had to ship out the only good player left that they could possibly ship out, which is Kenyon Drake. And I expect Kenyon Drake to put up some really big numbers moving forward, just for the simple fact that when he touches the ball, great things can happen. And the Dolphins, they just clearly weren't giving him the ball enough, but every time they did give him the ball, I definitely thought he's shown that he's a starting caliber running back. And Arizona's shown that no matter who's at running back, they know how to run the ball really effectively. So I definitely like the move there by the Cardinals getting Kenyon Drake. Right now, looking at it, the Cardinals are a 10-point underdog to the San Francisco 49ers. Kickoff is going to be at 7:20. Do y'all feel like 10 points is a fair number, or do y'all feel like that's a little too high? Like where are y'all at on this matchup? And I'll kind of hit y'all with a little bit of a surprise with how I look at it.
I think NFL 10 is high because you never know. I think, though,
they always seem to be one possession.
Well, the way that the 49ers have been playing, you kind of understand that because they've been so dominant defensively. The only thing that I will say for this is we look at the Cardinals and we didn't expect much out of them, and they've gotten progressively better as the season's gone on. And I think this is a huge opportunity game. He doesn't have to win it, but a huge opportunity game for Kingsbury to kind of showcase what he's about. Coming over from Texas Tech, and he was mediocre, and you look and they wanted that fresh mind in there. Everybody wants the Sean McVay now. So like, oh, this could be it here. I think this is a huge statement game for him. But to go back to your point or your question, 10 points, I think it's borderline, but I think it's fair in this game tonight.
Where do you see this at, Joe?
I think it's going to be higher. And
so
the reason
you like the 49ers to cover?
Yeah, I think the 49ers are going to cover, and the reason I say that is because I think I think it's a terrible matchup for the Cardinals offense because the 49ers have such a good pass rush with just their front four that they're not going to have to blitz. And I think they're going to be very cognizant of Kyler Murray running the football. So I think they're going to be dropping 7 guys, knowing that I think the Cardinals are pretty limited running the football. I mean, because Kenyon Drake, he may be a good player, but I mean he's only been there for a few days. They're very beat up.
Yeah, he got a short week.
Yeah, short week. So I think the 49ers are going to, number one, I mean they're going to try to force Kyler Murray to stay in the pocket. They're going to be rushing with 4 guys, I think. And I think they're going to kind of ease up on the blitz and force Kyler to beat him with his arm. And so to me, I think this is probably, in the neighborhood of 13, 14 points, somewhere in there. So I would take the 49ers to cover.
So for those that don't know, me, Joe, and Chad have what we call the Jared Hawker pick of the week. And for those who don't know who Jared Hawker is, he was the lineman for Texas A&M earlier in the year. They were getting ready to play Clemson. They interviewed him how he felt going into the matchup, and he made the bold statement of saying that there will be an upset this week. In case you didn't understand.
It did not happen.
Yeah, in case you did not
in
see
my,
the rankings.
Morgan
Clemson,
Freeman voice.
Yeah.
It did not happen.
In case you have not seen Clemson's record, they have 0 losses. So he was clearly wrong. Needless to say, every week, me, Joe, and Chad have our Jared Hawker pick where this point spread has to be 10 points or greater in order for you to make the pick. I'm going to make my Jared Hawker pick now and say the Cardinals get it done tonight. And the reason why I say that is for a couple things. One, the 49ers are running the ball 60% of the time. Garoppolo is only throwing about 22 passes a game. He's not really good at throwing it to the outside. So with Patrick Peterson coming back from suspension, you know that the outsides are essentially going to be locked down, in my personal opinion, based off the wide receivers that they have, because I don't think they're really capable of beating Patrick Peterson in a one-on-one matchup. So really, the 49ers offense really only has the middle of the field to work with, and I think it's going to be close enough to where they don't cover, which means that there's also a chance that they could win. Now, the 49ers, yes, they're undefeated. Do not get me wrong, they're a really good team. I definitely think that the division is going to be ran through them for the foreseeable future. However, we also know that there are games that teams just do not show up. We also know that there are games in the NFL where you are just bound to lose at some point. Averages for a reason. They're not going to go undefeated. They have to lose at some point. A short week, Patrick Peterson coming back. They do have Kenyon Drake. I'm not saying he's going to be the difference maker, but what I am saying is that they definitely do have a weapon out of the backfield instead of going to go pick up somebody off the street to play that position. Kyler Murray is capable of evading that pass rush. I like the Cardinals to get it done tonight. That's going to be my Jared Hawker pick. I'm not going to pull a Chad and say I said this was my pick, and I don't know if it actually happened or not. So supposedly Chad got a pick right this year. which me and Joe still.
He hasn't made a Jared Hawker pick since like week 2.
Well, like, it's one of those things, like, whenever you're in school and you're like, I did my homework, and you're like, did you turn it in? No, but I did it. I mean, it's like, I need to have something.
What's the old adage, like, if Chad makes a Jared Hawker pick in a forest and nobody's around, or
if
did
no
it make
one's
a sound,
around,
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know if Chad actually won that pick or not. So for the sake of
there's an asterisk.
Yeah, it's like the when USC and they were doing the BCS championship before they did the playoff. When USC in 2003 said that they finished number 1, so they won the national championship over LSU, but LSU actually has the trophy. Yeah. So
wait a minute, you mean like when UCF won that national championship that never happened?
Yes, and Chad can tell you all about that when he comes back from trick or treating tomorrow, and he probably he's gonna bring us knowledge as well as about 3 cavities tomorrow. But my pick is going to be the Cardinals just because the 49ers are bound to lose at some point. Why not now? Garoppolo has been struggling. If you remember, Joe, when we talked, I actually had the Redskins to beat the 49ers.
Yeah.
And they actually played them really, really tough that game. It was really, really sloppy.
Weather was awful.
Yeah.
And by awful, I mean it was awesome.
Yeah. Like, I remember Trey Quinn, who was also at LSU before he went to SMU, also Mr. Irrelevant, caught a pass on the left outer hash, and whenever he did, he literally slid. I kid you not, maybe like 10 yards because it was slip and slide weather. But I'm going to go with the Cardinals tonight. And if you think that the 49ers are going to win, I mean, obviously the odds are in your favor. According to ESPN, they have an 80% chance of winning. But as they said on Dumb and Dumber, you're saying there's a chance.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Cardinals tonight.
Yep.
I have some sort of belief that it can happen with some logic there. It's not like I'm, like when you go to Super Bowl parties, you ask the wives, who do you think's going to win? And they're like, go Falcons. And you're like, why do you think the Falcons are going to win? Because I have a pet bird and I love them.
Have you seen how good black and red looks on me?
Yeah, oh my gosh, black and red are just so awesome. Did you not see the Victoria's Secret October catalog? It's the trending colors.
And you're like, no, I didn't.
I'm like, no, actually, I don't subscribe to that magazine, but thank you for sharing. I'll be sure to make sure that whenever I go out to our nice fancy dinner, I wear some black slacks with a red dress shirt because apparently that's the style. Thanks to you for informing me of that. But no, like there's actually reasons and logic as behind why I think they can get it done tonight. I do think Kyler Murray is definitely overachieving right now. When you look at what the number 1 picks have been doing, whenever you see Baker Mayfield setting the record for most touchdown passes by a rookie quarterback, and now all of a sudden he leads the NFL in interceptions. That rookie year, though, was phenomenal, and now it's basically setting the bar as to what's expected for these rookie quarterbacks coming in. And Kyler Murray, he had to basically one-up Baker Mayfield in every step so far. At Oklahoma, he had to one-up him. In the NFL, he has to one-up him. And he may not be throwing as many touchdown passes. Right now, he actually has 7 touchdown passes to 4 interceptions. But I think he also has less to work with.
I was about to say,
Baker
way
Mayfield.
less.
Yeah, and the thing is, the combination that if you're a Cardinals fan, the combination that you need to be looking for right now is Kyler Murray to Christian Kirk, and it came alive last week against New Orleans. I watched that game, and they look really promising. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals tonight. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back for our last segment of the night, and this trick-or-treat Halloween-themed edition of the Sports Drive. This is ESPN Pensacola at 1330, 99.1 FM.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
There's a lot going on right now, and broadcasters are on the ground covering all of it, bringing you the weather, the traffic, and breaking news, all while entertaining you 24 hours a day. Someone needs to tell you what's going on around the world and in our hometowns. And that someone is us. We are free radio. We are always there. We are broadcasters. Visit wearebroadcasters.com or text radio to 52886 to learn more. Furnished by NAB and this station.
ESPN Radio is taking over ESPN News. You can now watch your favorite radio shows all in one place. From Golic and Wingo. Oh, yeah. To the Dan Levitard Show with Stugotz.
All right, I'm available every day, thanks.
To the Stephen A. Smith Show.
I just don't understand this guy.
To the Will Kane Show.
It's my job to tell the truth.
From morning to night, the best of ESPN Radio is now available on ESPN News.
Calling all Gator fans. Time to get down and dirty in the swamp.
Tony to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Here comes Ramoso, and the Gators win. Jordan Matthews is a postseason hero.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 brings you Go Gators every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Go Gators on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Brought to you by the Holman Law Firm.
When working at a growing business, you wear many hats. The new business hat, the buying toner for the copy machine hat, the sifting through tons of resumes hat. You can throw away that last hat thanks to Indeed.com. When posting your job, Indeed lets you add screener questions that give you a less time-consuming route to your short list of qualified candidates. So go ahead, dust off that extra long lunch hat. Hiring's better when you've got your short list. Save time on hiring when you post a job on Indeed. Get started today at Indeed.com/hire.
Hey sports fans, we know that we all fumble now and then when we're headed for the end zone, and our vehicles are no exception. Next time your bad ride is a little offsides, take it to Amco Transmission, your total car care facility. And with no interest financing, even with less than perfect credit, you'll drive away feeling as if you caught the winning touchdown. You always make the right play when you take your vehicle to Amco Transmission on Davis Highway, just south of Airport Boulevard. Visit them on Facebook or call 800-GO-AMCO. AA-MCO.
Talk football every day with Pensacola's own Coach K.
The key on offense is going to be whether Franks can come back and duplicate what he did in the last 4 games.
Every weekday, noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to this Thursday edition of the Sports Drive, Halloween edition, in case you can't tell by the Michael Myers music, in case I didn't give it away. Eric Vadrine here, filling in for Chad Brilliante as he goes trick-or-treating in his fake news outfit and taking his daughter trick-or-treating. I think she's a butterfly today. Yep. So happy for Chad, able to have a special moment with his daughter.
Is his daughter really going with him? I mean, are we?
According to Chad,
well, I mean,
according to Chad, that's
the party line.
But at the same time, he also made a fake Hawker pick. So
Chad's word cannot be taken at face value.
What did they say? Take it with a grain of salt. Yeah. Take it with a grain of salt. We actually have some college football tonight. We already talked about the Arizona Cardinals going up against the San Francisco 49ers, who's a 10-point favorite right now. We also have West Virginia and the surprisingly best team in Texas right now, number 12 Baylor. That's going to be over here.
That's debatable.
Well, I think if before the year you would have asked most people, what 2 teams do you think are going to be ranked the highest, you probably would have got Texas A&M and Texas. But it's actually Baylor and SMU. But we have number 12 Baylor. They're going to be in some action tonight against West Virginia.
Matt Ruley, another name. Keep your eye on. Yeah. Talking about coaching candidates earlier.
Well, they showed it on TV. He was running wind sprints, so he is he's definitely trying to pick up his intensity and get in shape, I guess, to run with some NFL players because, they're faster at the next level.
Yeah.
So he's trying to definitely make some moves. And we also have number 20th, Appalachian State against Georgia Southern. That's also going to be at 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Appalachian State is going to be a 14-point favorite. But ultimately, the weekend that we are kind of bummed out in a way because the top 3 teams are not playing. LSU and Alabama have a bye, as well as Joe's Ohio State Buckeyes, which, by the way, are my pick to win it all. I am going to confidently say that. They have a bye week, so we have the matchup of Florida and Georgia. And Georgia's a 6.5-point favorite. Before the year started, whenever we had the Florida Gator show, Joe, you and me, we talked about it. I said that I think Florida was going to split one of the games between Auburn and LSU, which they did, and then they were going to lose to Georgia. So I'm also one of those people. Until it changes, I'm going to stick with my pick as long as it's still alive. So I do like Georgia in this matchup, but my confidence level in that pick has diminished
Very
significantly.
Yeah.
Jake Fromm has barely thrown for 300 yards in the past 2 games,
Which
and
is
he's a projected
so
first-round
puzzling
pick.
to me. I haven't been on the show since Georgia lost, but yeah, for a guy who is by all accounts a high graded draft prospect, it's amazing to me how little he throws downfield.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's by design, just the way the offense is, or if there's just something that they just don't like or they don't feel confident in. But I mean, that's just so puzzling to me that a team with that much talent, with a first round, apparently a first round quarterback prospect, could be so limited in throwing the ball downfield. Now I know like his wide receivers, from a year ago are way different this year, but still that's very puzzling to me. So I'm right there with you. I mean, the way that Florida's looked, and especially against teams like Auburn, where they're probably a little bit limited throwing the football, would it shock me at all if Florida won? Not at all.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's definitely a much greater chance now for Florida to win, especially when you saw the big
played
physical
LSU
cornerback.
so well.
Right, and
Yeah.
you see the big physical cornerback for South Carolina who picked off Jake Fromm 3 times. He's not going to have a cupcake matchup with C.J. Henderson this week by any means necessary. So are you leaning more towards Georgia or Florida this week?
Yeah, I'll say Florida.
Florida?
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Jeff? What do
Yeah.
you see with this matchup right here?
Well, I agree with you on the Georgia thing. What are they doing? They have this talent, and granted, like you said, the receivers aren't as good as they were. They're still top-rated receivers. They're still really good athletes. It's just like a sleepwalk for them. You kind of wait for them to explode, and like, okay, now Georgia's back. I don't know if Florida's the team they do it against, though, because it's really hard to take advantage of a really good defense like that. And the one thing I was looking up is seeing how Greenard and Zuniga were doing. If they coming back, well, Dan Mullen says they're going to be cleared to play. So if they play, I'm definitely going Florida here. If not, maybe a field goal, maybe Georgia wins it by. But I think Greenard is the go-to guy there on that defense.
Well, the other thing that I would add too is that look at the matchup of the coaches. Dan Mullen and Kirby Smart, and for as much talent and as much credit as we give Kirby Smart for how good the Georgia program has become under him, he has been very questionable in big games.
Right.
And so you look at, if the game is close, if it's tight late, which I would expect it to be, who do you trust more, Dan Mullen or Kirby Smart? To me, it's Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely shown it, and he's also done it with less. Let's not forget what he did at Mississippi State with Dak Prescott, who is trying to still get his money in Dallas, and I think he'll definitely have a big game this week against the Giants and the G-Men. Got Michael Gallup back, and also Amari Cooper, who just seems to miraculously always find a way to get 100 yards receiving, it seems, no matter what. Joe, I got to ask you, as an Ohio State guy, y'all got Marvin Harrison Jr. today.
Yeah, I heard that.
So the rich get richer, apparently, over there in Ohio. I mean, dear Jesus.
Yeah.
But, I mean, as an LSU guy, we have Randy Moss's son, and he's definitely not one of our top 3 receivers. But as an Ohio State guy, how do you feel about y'all's recruiting class so far? And I think it's definitely a sign of people wanting to play for Coach Day.
Yeah, and I mean, you that, and you look at especially just how much success Ohio State players have had it in the NFL. I mean, Chase Young is looking like the next off the assembly line in terms of the defensive ends. When you have Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa coming off the weekends they had, Michael Thomas is probably the best wide receiver in the National Football League right now.
He's the only one for the Saints,
statistically,
apparently.
yes. And there's just so many guys that are coming off the assembly line in recent years. So, something's going on.
Well, Ohio State definitely got richer. Make sure y'all tune in tonight. We're going to see some Cardinals and the 49ers. Chad, continue to enjoy your trick-or-treat time. We got Jeff Price, Joe Ford, Eric Vadrine filling in for Chad Brilliante. Y'all have a blessed night. Happy Halloween, and God bless.
Football season has arrived, and ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM is where the action is. Bringing your high school football every Friday night, UWF football on Saturdays, and the NFL on Sundays. If you would like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm John Ryder. 76ers center Joel Embiid and Timberwolves center Karl Anthony Towns have each been suspended 2 games without pay for their roles in an altercation in the third quarter of Philadelphia's win last night. Golden State star Steph Curry suffered a broken left hand after a horrid fall in last night's loss to Phoenix. Curry had a CT scan today. No timetable for his return, and the team is finding out if the injury requires surgery. Golden State is 1-3.